hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome to Live Free and Ham. Tonight is the night of scary crap happening everywhere and anywhere with all of the things going on, technical issues and whatnot. I'm surprised we're all here and haven't skipped town and left for dead, as they say. So, well, hey, hope for everybody's doing well there in the chat. We see a few names popping in here. I know it's a little earlier than we usually do it, but glad to see folks jumping in on here. And again, I want to say hello and thanks for hanging out with us over here at Live Free and Ham on our live stream tonight. So, as always, we just kind of want to go through the usual sundry of things. We appreciate all you guys that are hanging out with us and spending time listening to Live Free and Ham. This, as always, is our usual monthly live stream that we like to do. We're going to keep it low key tonight, just because I'm sure if you're like us, you just need a very stiff drink and a lot of relaxation time, because it's one of those days for sure. But either way, if you're in the opposite and you're enticed to just do something and be motivated, remember, you can always head over to livefreeandham.com/shop and check out all of our merch. Todd and I are sporting our usual Live Free and Ham caps. Nothing against, no slant against there, Paul, because, just short of his computer catching fire, I think, he's doing pretty well today. You can always check out some of our shirts, our tees, our swag, and you can always pick up stickers and everything else Live Free and Ham. And just, we appreciate anything you purchase in the store, because it helps us out and keeps the show running and keeps our focus and doing what we love to do, ham radio. So the other thing too is that we are launching, if you haven't already, a Patreon for Live Free and Ham. So if you really love us that much and you want to get behind the scenes stuff, you want to hear all of our bloopers, all of our B-roll, all of the stuff that goes on uncut, you can head over to our website at livefreeandham.com/Patreon, become a member. You'll get access to our episodes before they actually go live. You'll get to see both the audio podcast and all of our video for our YouTube channel before everybody else does. So you can be in the know and be the cool guy, like all the rest of us are.
And knowing is half the battle.
Yeah, exactly. Totally true. Well, so with that, with everything going on, Paul, how are you guys doing wise? I mean, we've talked a bit, but Paul, what's been going on with your ham radio week or day or hour by hour?
Well, so my ham radio week has been filled with nothing but frustration and banging my head against the wall as I learn all about computers and how to build computers and all of these things that, is really very beyond my knowledge and skill set. So I've had 3 towers. They were, desktop computers that Eric gave me well over a year ago to upgrade the shack computer and build a computer out of it. And it didn't end up very high on the priority list until I'm trying to edit my first soda video, and I can't get any of the video to load because my hard drive is full and my external storages aren't working right, and it was just a big headache. But so long story short, right, I parted out the towers. I put all the parts that I wanted to use that were good into one unit. Mm-hmm. The motherboard that I originally used was giving me constant blue screens. So I swapped out the motherboard. Actually, I had my son. It was a good project for him. I had him swap out the motherboard for me today. And finally got Windows installed, and I got it up and running, and it's great that it's up and running. However, I need a GPU because it only has like one monitor output port that built into the motherboard, and got 3 monitors. So I need that, plus I need the processing for the video and the graphics and all of that. And so eventually we'll get there. But for the time being, at least I get the shack radio computer on a terabit hard drive as opposed to a 250 gig. So at least now I've got some storage.
Wonderful, dude. You're just 2 screws short of a PC shop.
Oh, literally, like it's just computer parts stretched across the whole room back here.
Cool. Well, glad you're making progress. Although I'm sure you feel like you're going backwards a lot of times. I'm sure, but either way, good on that. And hey, as long as you get one step closer to getting that GPU, you'll be able to get with the big boys, as they say. And then at that point, the pond is so big, you feel like you're a small little minnow. Cool. All right. Well, with that, Todd, how has your day or ham radio week been?
Well, I was all set to do POTA this afternoon for my lunch break, and I still work with morons. So I had to get recertified on a test to do an assessment, and so I go on the website, do everything, and there it is. Do this assessment. I do it. I submit it. Guy goes, "Oh, you did the wrong one." I was like, "What? It's the only one that was there." Guy's like, "Oh, you got to do the one that says JJ on it." So I said, "Hey, I already did that one last year." He goes, "Yeah, you got to do that one again." All right, thanks for telling me that. So I had to do it again, take another test, pass that one. And then everyone in my office was doing the same thing I did, so they all had to do it over again, and none of them could pass it. So I spent the day just taking tests for everyone, reading vignettes, and then taking the test and making my whole office be able to pass or help them pass. They didn't. I wouldn't say that everyone was helping everyone, but it was just like a nightmare. So it killed my whole POTA lunch thing. And I went into work early too, because I said, all right, if I get in early, I could leave early. I could maybe do it in the afternoon, maybe do an hour and a half, whatever. Yeah, it didn't work out. But on a positive note, it's been awesome on the repeater in the morning on my drive to work, because I've been talking to N1COW Christian, W1WRA Bill, and was it KC1TLY Ralph, pretty much every morning. So it's pretty awesome. They're on the repeater in the morning. Normally Ralph and Bill are up real early. Like when I wake up, I can hear them talking on the repeater. So it's been cool talking to them, catching up with them. Bill told me, W1WRA, that he got a Flex, his new Flex. What is it, the 8400? And
I think I got an 86, but yeah.
Or 8600, yeah, 8600. And his Flex, I think he said, was number 124. And the first batch of them, the crew at Flex signed the Flex radios, in like marker or something. So he didn't think he had one until he lifted it up and he looked underneath it, and it had all signatures from like the Flex team or whoever built it on his radio. So I told him, I said, that's kind of a cool radio to have.
Yeah, the signature series lines are kind of like a cool little, like, it's gimmicky for me, but at the same time it's like it's a limited edition. You can kind of ask a little bit more for it when they come out with the 9700 series, whatever that is.
Yeah, exactly. So we talked a little bit about that and stuff, but it's always good to talk. I mean, I don't get to see Bill that often anymore, and it's always fun to talk to him, and he's a world of knowledge. And Christian, he's always traveling, so we always talk about POTA and his adventures of where he's going. And so I guess he's saying his wife today was doing I think she's in the theater.
Yeah,
and
theater.
Yeah, and they're doing a production, so he drops her off, then he runs over to Bear Brook, and he goes, yeah, tonight, he goes, I'm going to do one, before 8:00, and then after 8:00, I'll get the regular shift and the night shift in. So I said, all right, man, good luck.
Sweet. Yeah.
So hopefully, I was tomorrow I'm pretty busy. Like, my schedule's pretty busy at work, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it, but I got my bag in the car and I'm ready to go. So if I get the opportunity, it's going to be beautiful tomorrow too. It's going to be what?
Is it?
Yeah, it's going to be like 78 or something.
Good.
So I'm like, and the other thing I heard, I was reading, because since I couldn't do POTA and I was stuck doing these stupid tests, there's going to be another solar flare. So this weekend, it looks like we're going to be shit out of luck.
Well, if you get screwed one way, you get screwed on the going out too. So equal opportunity.
But yeah, I did all my POTA logs. Like I submit them into the database, right? But I haven't I've been kind of slacking, and I didn't realize how much, but I haven't added to my podologs to my main log since April. And I went through and put them all in a folder so I can, move them into the log. I can't believe how many pod activations I've done since. I think I did like 19 or something crazy. I was like, holy crap, look at all these.
Yep.
So
It's
cool.
It's
like you do one at a time, or you don't think you're doing a lot, but when I was looking for them, I was like, all right, I wrote the list down of all the ones that I need. I was like, wow, look at all these freaking parks I did. A lot of them were done when I was in North Carolina when I was on because I did it every day.
Right. Well, it just makes you long for those days again because you're just dealing with all the crap, and you're like, damn it, I want a POTA. That's all I want.
I know. That's all I wanted to do today. Really. I'd gone in early too because I was like, all right, I'm gonna skip we do the breakfast, on Wednesday mornings, and I could have gone to that. And I said, I'm going to skip that. I'm going to get to work, get the stuff I need to get done, and then I'm going to cruise over, get a POTA in, and of course, didn't work out. So I was bummed.
Well,
it happens.
That's
it
still
happens. Okay. Yeah.
That's still okay.
But what about you, Eric? What'd you do today? Your POTA week or your ham radio week?
I wish it was a POTA week. Trust me, I would love to have a POTA week every day. I sadly was. I talked to AC1RH Keith, and I was talking to him about a different project and stuff like that. Sidebar, and he's like, "Yeah, I can't commit to that this week. I have to do it next week." I'm like, "Wow, what's going on?" He's like, "This whole entire week, I'm activating his favorite island. He's got like I can't remember what the name of the island is, but there's an island." That's just somewhere in Mass, on a lake. And the only way you can get to it is when the low tide, schedule is in play because there's no other way to get to the island. And so he has to like play it when the schedule is just perfect because it's like only like 3 or 4 days, like maybe in an entire month that he can do it. So he was like, yeah, I got to let you go because I got to get my kayak and head up. I'm like, you are doing that island again, aren't you? And he's like, yeah. Like,
well, he was the first one to do that park. And not only did he do it, he got a kilo on it, and then he got like an award for it.
Oh, did he?
Like, yeah, he got like an award for like activating the first guy to activate. Some guy, like whoever runs the Islands on the Air, like that organization, sent him like an award that he was like the first one to go to that island and activate it and stuff. Yeah, you should talk to him. It's kind of cool.
Eagle Island. That's what.
Yeah,
he's done it. He's still working on his activation for it. But I guess it's a very tough island to get to. So,
is this different? Is this different than the one he was doing in the Merrimack?
Yeah. That's this Eagle Island is kind of his favorite place to go to because it's like so remote. It's sort of like if you ever been like Winnipesaukee and they have like those small little islands that you can only get to by boat. Well, add the fact that you can only get to them by kayak, and on top of it, on certain conditions because it's so like shallow that you only can
yeah,
you have to have shallow tides to come in, but. It's kind of crazy. And so, so he was talking about that, and then that kind of like spurred me on. And I was like, all right, I'm going Wednesday, which is today, to go out and do a POTA. I've got to do a couple other videos. I've got to wrap up because I've been a slacker on my channel, and I apologize to everybody else, who's been waiting for me to put out a freaking video. And like, I've got like 5 videos in the queue, and like Shane says, I'll get to it in 6 to 9 months. I'm hopefully not on that schedule, maybe 6 to 9 weeks, but I'm getting them done, getting out there. So, be patient with the content. But all that said, I was going out and record and finish up one last part of my video, and it was raining this morning. And I was like, oh, this is going to suck. And so I went to the breakfast this morning for the club and actually had some really good conversations, talked to a lot of good folks. And I heard you on the repeater this morning, and I was like, oh, I got to chime in. And you're like, no, I got to go. And I'm like, wow, I'm one of those people now. Like, I'm always just missing the drive crowd. I
didn't hear you, though.
No, I didn't put anything up because I heard you and Bill saying, hey, I got to go. And you were getting to your destination. And Bill's like, oh, I'm almost there. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to put my call out there. I don't want to be like, we just want to make sure you're there type guy. We know we heard you, so I was like, whatever. And so, Ralph and I kind of chit chatted and we had a lot of good conversations. So that kind of started my day off good. And I thought it was great. And then I just, I had a lot of shitty clients today. So not happy. And all that being said, I was glad to do the live stream. And just like Paul, I'm technical difficulties all around. I don't know like what is wrong with today, but everything was just, dying, falling left and right and couldn't, get things going. So I had to do a little, reset dance a little bit here and there. And once I finally got that all squared away, or at least seeing myself. As you can tell, I don't have my background. You are seeing the original. This is the Fife Day, Casa de Fife in the background. So, at this point, we'll figure it all out. So yeah, outside of that, hey, you win some, you lose some.
I did a couple weeks ago. I finished my logo, so
oh yeah, dude, that's cool.
Good. I have to. I don't have it on my computer. I just have it on my phone. I was going to try to email it to myself. Maybe I can figure out how to put it on there. This probably won't be my final logo of all time, but it's going to be good for now. It was fun learning how to use what's that app that I was using? Canva, yeah.
Cool. So, well, we're finally happy to hear that you're building a logo. So now maybe we might get one video from Todd eventually. Maybe a hello video. You never know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's we'll see. You guys talk about. I hear you talking about. Oh, I got to edit this and that. Like I get home from work and in the morning I am so motivated. I am up, showered, ready to go, dressed. It's 7 o'clock. I'm ready for the day. And by the time I get home, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to turn on my computer. I don't want to go look at my ham radio. I don't want to do my brain. It's just terrible. And it upsets me because I really would love to come home and be all right, now I'm going to do this. I'm going to edit stuff. But it's the last thing I want to do. I've been sitting at a computer all day, staring or taking phone calls or running around trying to put out fires. And then I'm do I really want to go home and edit? So that's gonna be my problem. When am I gonna have time to edit and make videos?
Just give us the raw
make
version.
The time.
Yeah, easy for you to say. And then I got my Zach is getting into the RC stuff and the quads and stuff. So I gotta keep all that crap and get all that stuff up to date, which is all updating and. I did do an experiment yesterday at the field. I went to the field. It was our last Tuesday night, and I had batteries that were 5 years old, LiPos, and they were fine, fully charged, full cells, everything. And I bought brand new ones. So I have this plane that I fly. It's one of my favorite ones, and I flew the new battery, and I got 6 minutes and a lot of pop to it, a lot of power. So then I take the old battery, and I get half the power and half the time. I'm that battery's gone. I mean, a huge difference. Really a huge difference. I mean, it was pretty noticeable.
Trust me, I know when
a brand new battery, you only got 6 minutes of flight time.
Imagine if our radios operated like that, man. How quickly would you have to get contacts down? I only got 6 minutes, guys. Come on, make this quick. No chatter.
That's actually a good amount of time. I mean, some of the planes I have, I have one little. It's a little MiG jet. It's a little micro one, and it runs on a 1 cell, and it lasts 2.5 minutes.
That's what our wives would say. That's a good time.
Yeah, but typically you're 4 or 5 minutes of a flight for the planes. The quads can go longer, but it's just what you. I mean, one guy the other day, this guy Zach, and he has a video on RC. He does him and his buddy have a real high-end video equipment. They do amazing RC videos, and he had this huge World War II plane. I mean, it was just enormous. I don't know how big it was. It was just huge. And he normally those planes are gas or glow or something. So he has an electric. He had 2 6-cells batteries. So he had a 12-cell running this plane. That's how big it was. And he could fly it for 5 minutes. That's over $200 just in batteries to run it for 5 minutes. I was holy crap.
Oh my.
You got to figure out how to get a 12 amp hour battery in there.
Car battery. See if you can get that up in the air.
Yeah, but the thing is you can, it's like driving a car. You can save gas or save battery power by not flying so hard. But when you're flying and doing, if you're flying fast or slow or punching it in and out, it just drains the battery. The more you go, and I fly I'll fly nice and slow and do something. All of a sudden, I'll see a tree in front of me, and I'll have to punch it. And as soon as you punch it, you can see on the radio, if it's connected, you can see the voltage just go. It just dies. It's you got a leak in the gas tank.
It's owning an electric car, it's like you just feather the pedal, and then you're like, I want to speed around this person, and you go from like 70% down to 3% just trying to pass somebody on the highway.
All right, so now you bring up electric cars. So,
No.
Tuesday
Wait.
was my social day, right? So one of the guys in there, he's got an electric car, and we were talking about it, and he was telling me how it's like I guess, Eric, there's a new Ram pickup truck called the Charger.
Yep.
That has like a built-in, it's electric, but it has a generator that will charge the batteries while, like, I have to go look it up. But I was telling him how California now wants to charge you for mileage driven, because everyone's driving electric cars. They're not getting the gas tax, and they're proposing like you're going to get charged how many miles you do a year, and they're going to tax you on that. He goes, well, New Hampshire already does that. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, like my car, he goes, they charge me like a little over $100 a year every time I register, just an excise tax because I don't get gas.
Right.
And I was like, oh. So then I asked my buddy at work, and he drives like a hybrid, so he doesn't have to plug it in. It's kind of like, I guess, like a Prius, I would think.
Yeah, it's like,
and he doesn't have to pay a tax. But I think if you plug your car in and your car runs on electric only, I think you have to pay this tax. So my question was, and I don't know if there's anyone out there that has one of those Jeeps, that is, I call it the Prius mode, the gas mode, and the Tesla mode, that has both. It has a gas tank and a plug-in.
Yeah.
So do you pay the excise tax on that, or do you pay less or more? But they don't advertise. They don't advertise that crap like when you're buying this stuff.
It's that's how they get you. They want to just let you know that, hey, you're plugging into the grid. We're going to make you pay for it.
Right. Well,
there's a little piece of paper at town hall, and it says, if you drive an EV, you have to pay this $100 extra tax. That's where you find out.
Yeah, you won't see that at a dealership.
And super tiny, that people like me who can't see up close can't read. But did you guys know that, or is that news to you?
You will never find me in an electric vehicle whatsoever. I'm sorry. I'm going to be gas until I die. Yeah. I get it. I love electric. I deal with batteries when I do ham radio, and I deal with batteries with everything else. But I'm not going to put them in my car. You can tell me how great it is, and I guarantee it's probably good. But I am just, this is where my old man Kaji stuff sets in, and I'm like, this is where I'm going to just dig my heels in, and I'm like, to the day I die, I'm going to be having a combustion engine in the driveway. It might be the only one in the neighborhood, but it will be mine.
If you drive an electric car and you get in an accident, get the hell out of that car. Oh yeah, immediately. Do not sit in that car.
Would you touch your RC batteries if they exploded? No. You'd let them burn.
And look those batteries. Like we've done things to those batteries to see what would happen to them, and you cannot put them out. No. We've done everything: chemicals, fire extinguishers, dirt, buried it. I mean, we literally built like a 2-foot hole and buried it, and it looked like a volcano. Those things will not go out, and you're basically sitting on those in a Tesla and probably any other electric car.
Yeah, I would. I don't know about my life with that, but I just don't think I'm ever going to go electric unless if I can get the range out of it, great. But I won't even buy the Rev. Like you were talking about the Ram truck. Shifting gears here. That Ram truck, nice truck, but I like towing. I want 10,000 pounds towing. I don't care about you. I'm not going to get that out of an electric vehicle, even if they add extra motors.
Well, that's what I told him. I said that sounds great, but like most of the Ford, the Ford Lightning.
The Lightning.
People say that you can't tow anything with it. Like as soon as you tow, you get like 20 miles, and that's it. And they said it sucks. And then he told me he said on a charge he gets like 215 miles. He says if he puts just a utility trailer on the back, he drops down to 100. Like that's just a little utility trailer, like something you bring the garbage to, to the dump. He says it just kills it. So,
see, I'm a little less old man than you, Eric. But my decisions.
He's a horse and buggy.
No. Listen, 100%. I will never go electric because it is not logical, rational, or sensible in any financial sense. It is more harmful to the environment, arguably, than gas is, because not only are you dealing with the mining of the minerals, but you're dealing with the child slave labor in the Congo.
Woohoo.
and
Sign me up.
you know, and you know, all of the horrible things that they're doing, and they're mistreating people. Um, but then what are you doing? You're charging it off the grid, right? Which, depending on how your power comes through, it's either nuclear or it's coal or it's hydro or it's whatever, right? Which doesn't necessarily make it green.
Well, you know
So
what, Paul? It's when I was in California, I was at a Target, and they have Southern California, every parking lot has charging. Like you go to a parking lot and there's like a charger for 4 spots, so you could have 4 Teslas charging at one thing. The biggest problem, though,
Sorry,
is
we're not running a poll.
what's ironic about it is that they have a diesel generator in the back of the parking lot running those electric chargers, which is like defeats the whole purpose of the idea of my car is electric.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
you
because
are getting
then
electricity.
you're putting massive carbon emissions out in the diesel generator just to charge the freaking yeah. It's stupid. None of it makes any sense.
I think you know. I think what I don't think all electric is the answer. I think right now the smart thing to do if you do a lot of driving is maybe get like the hybrid where it can, like, when you're just driving around town, you could be electric, and then when you get on the highway or you need to go fast or whatever, you can use. To me, that seems better. Like a Jeep can get like 500 miles to a tank on the E versions, I think they said. So like I get, like, if I'm lucky, I'll get 300 miles. So if I can get 500 miles, you know, to me that makes a lot of sense. But it's not solely electric. So, but they need to come up with a different. They need to come up with a different fuel source.
Mike,
like
has that been tested? Are you sure that's been tested? Because I don't imagine they probably have an RF quiet version. It might cost a little bit more, but you might get an RF quiet one.
What did Doc Brown put in the DeLorean?
Isn't it garbage?
Yeah, well, that was that Mr. Fusion. That was the Mr.
Fusion.
Yeah. That was the flux capacitor 2.0.
I love the one where he puts like the banana peels and the shit in it.
Yep, totally. Yeah, well, so we apologize for boring folks if they came here for ham radio content, because tonight, we are talking about how ham radio can be scary, because if you have an electric car, you can't run ham radio.
Well, let me tell you this too. I leave my ham radio on in the car when I go to the field, and I just turn it on. I got Epsom and Bedford going, and if I'm there at 7:00 or whatever, the net goes on. It's awesome because everyone asks me about it. It gives me the opportunity to spread the word. Yeah, it's awesome. Oh, you're on that net? Oh yeah, that's a net. Oh, is that a CB? No, that's a ham radio. Way better than CB.
Praise Percy Hiram. Praise Percy Hiram.
But it's good. It's a good way to, especially like in the summertime and stuff. If you leave it in your car and you leave it on, got the windows down, people walk by and hear it, they get curious.
Yeah, they do. So. Cool. Well, the kind of somewhat segues. I don't know how to turn the ship around, but hey, we'll just go with it anyway, because it's one of those evenings. We're talking a little bit about how ham radio can be scary. Well, this is kind of the holiday eve before Halloween, so we noticed a few folks posted. We posted a comment earlier. What are you guys doing for Halloween? And we can talk a little bit about that in a bit. So obviously some folks are going to struggle a little bit with the weather. We've been there. I remember a couple of Halloweens over here where we were like in the 70-degree weather and it was like 30-mile-an-hour winds. It's like how the hell? Or the worst, it was like ice storm. But yeah, and Mike has got the right idea. Pumpkin beers will not drink themselves. However, Mike, you'll have to drink alone because I do refuse to drink pumpkin beer.
It's so gross.
That doesn't do it for me.
Like, okay, we still like you. This is the circle of trust. We will not, push you out of the hole, out of the nest there. But pumpkin beer. Hey, two demerit points for that. We'll just go with that. But anyway, so let's kind of go, talk a little bit about our topic tonight. So, we were kind of reminiscing here and along the Halloween lines, and the scary theme, but we were all going to get dressed up, but, God forbid that we try to throw that into the mix. It would have been a real train wreck. But we want to talk about some of our, maybe our activations, our ham radio career. What scary thing kind of happened to you? I've got a bunch of kind of anecdotal stories that I ran into that I haven't told anyone. So let's frame this as the circle of trust. Nothing leaves here. Nothing enters here without the love and the caring and the whatever. Because if you didn't know me from Adam, you'd probably be like, what a freaking idiot. And so we're going to start there. I'll throw in, and if you guys in the chat there have any of, those weird stories of like, reversing your battery cables or almost at the point of setting your radio on fire or, holding the antenna while you're transmitting, and I'll get into that story in a bit. We'll talk a little bit around that. So I guess in this little, therapy session, I can start first if you guys don't have anything, but unless anybody wants to pick one up.
You have to start by saying, hello, my name is Eric and I'm a ham radio addict.
Yes. Well, okay. Right. So hello, my name is Eric, call sign N1JUR, and I am a ham radio addict. However,
welcome, Eric.
Welcome, Eric.
Please comment in the chat.
Thank you for sharing.
My sponsors here, they'll both help me out. I think one of the interesting stories that growing up, I remember that kind of triggered a thought as I was thinking this through was, I just had gotten my car. And so I was like probably 16, 17. And I was like, I had my ticket already, just a no-code tech. And I was like, dude, I got to put my mobile radio in there because I was running HTs forever. And so with that, I was like, okay, get the mobile rig installed in the truck, get it wired to the battery, get it all hooked up. And instead of installing the antenna on the vehicle, and I remember this fondly because I never knew what everyone talked about what an RF burn might be. I was like, I want to test out this antenna. And so me and my infinite wisdom, I was like, okay, I'll run the coax right to the radio, put it on, like when I bought the 2-meter mobile rig, it was the 1500. So excuse me, it put like 25 watts out. So I cranked it all the way to 25. And I was like, I'm going to hold the antenna whip in my hand just above the roof because it's eventually going to go on the roof and see if I can hit the repeater. I can't tell you how dumb that was, but I'm going to tell you how dumb that was. I literally, as I'm holding the mic in my right hand, holding the whip in my left hand, all the coax running down, I literally keyed up 25 watts through my body. And I was like, holy crap. I flung the antenna literally like 15, feet in the air. The antenna pulled the radio out of the truck and it went everything literally evacuated the truck in like literally 5 minutes. And there wasn't burn marks, but it felt like I had gotten burned. And I was like, what the heck? And then for the next 3 days, if anybody's ever had an RF burn, it tingles. It's like an annoying, like, you know how you bash your elbow and you get the funny bone? It's like that on steroids. It's like constantly like this fluctuating of all of your, veins and, whole sensory system. It just starts to like annoy you to death. And so
Did it feel hot? Like when it...
No, it wasn't hot at all. It was like, it wasn't like a stove burn, but it was like, it felt like I was continuing the ground. And I was, because in essence, I was standing on the driveway while I was holding the antenna. And so I completed the circuit, the other half of the antenna. And lo and behold, it just literally followed me. And I didn't transmit the words, but in essence, when I keyed up the repeater, I definitely knew I keyed up the repeater because I could feel it through the antenna. So yes,
wow.
I don't know how to finish that statement, say I'm sorry, and the penitence, and how many rosaries I need to say. But
can we make a video of that? Can you reenact that for us?
I did that. That would be like 35 years plus, into my. I was like at 16, 17. So no, I'll never do that again. I know what that feels like.
Well, that can't be good for you. It probably like took a year or so off your life or something.
Maybe we'll see.
It's just mixing the cells around a little bit.
Oh, God, yeah. I'm really stronger in this arm for some reason. I don't know why. Okay, well, now that I confessed my stupidity, there's got to be something you guys have done. I can't have a whole list of stuff that, you guys can't be perfect. Really? Well, this is going to be one of those episodes?
Well, first of all, I'm pretty I get nervous around anything. Like I don't want to touch, like when I do my POTA activations, like I don't want to, even when the radio's on, I don't want to touch any of the coax. I don't want to touch the antenna, nothing, because, you hear stories like it could go bad, but then they say, oh, it's only when you're transmitting. Well, why isn't it? Could be when you're receiving too. Like I'm not messing with it unless I'm disconnected from the radio.
Mhm.
So yeah, maybe that's just my paranoia. But no, I haven't had any of those troubles before.
Wow. Well then,
I mean,
we,
something's. I guess if you want to say scary, it wasn't really scary. Is
well,
when I did that POTA activation, that late shift when it was like my first pile up, and I was at Silver Lake. It was totally sunny, and I'm out in this like little field up against this like mountain and a
But wait,
picnic
you can't.
table.
All right, hold on. You got to frame it the right way. Hi, I'm Todd. Call
Oh,
sign.
Hi, I'm
Go
Todd,
on.
W1STJ, and I'm a ham radio addict.
Wait a minute, Todd. Paul. Hi, Todd.
Welcome, Todd.
Yeah. So that was the deal. So I got on there and I finished the activation, and it was probably like 10 o'clock, and I got there early. Like I was there probably like five or six, and did the pre-normal, and then I did the late shift, and that's when it blew up. And I was so into it, and it was over with, and the radio went dead. Eric was not texting me anymore, and it was just a complete darkness, and I had no light. Luckily I had my phone, but like literally complete darkness. There was no moon, there was no lights, and I was like, holy crap. Like I couldn't even see where the antenna was, and it wasn't that far away. Not that
You
I
had to
was
feel it with your coax.
I wasn't scared, but it was kind of like, I'm sitting in here like something could have come up, like a bear or something I wouldn't even seen it. So I don't know if that's considered scary or not, but yeah. What did they say? What did Mike say? I should try a mag loop sometime if you sneeze wrong. You need to
retune it.
Oh, Mike, you should be on here tonight. You could be telling us your story.
Yeah, you could, man. Oh well, heal up well, man. You got lucky. You dodged a bullet. All right. Well, come on, Paul. In your ham radio life so far, you have not had any like embarrassing, or we'll say we'll rope it into scary. We can call it scary. Nothing.
All right. So okay.
No, you got to start off.
Yeah, come on.
My name is Paul, N1OG, and I am a ham radio addict.
Hi, Paul.
So this one time, I believe it was probably about last winter. Now the antenna that I run is a Cobra Ultralight Senior, and it's ladder line fed. And so the original setup, I was running a manual tuner, and so I had the ladder line, which is 80 feet. The antenna is 65 feet up, so I had plenty of extra. So I ran it in through the window, and I ran it along the ceiling, and I ran it down in behind the computer, and I connected the leads directly to the manual tuner. Because why not, right? I mean, you're running a balanced feed line. Why not? It just makes sense to connect it directly to the tuner. Well, I guess through the winter weather and the storms and the wind, the ladder line had gone up and down enough times that it actually broke on one side, and I couldn't figure out for the life of me. I'm running the amplifier in here, and I'm trying to talk to the world, and the SWR starts going crazy, and the room kind of smells like something's burning, and it doesn't. I'm like, there's something wrong here.
But 1,500 watts.
Yes, 1,500 watts into an aluminum window frame is essentially what I was doing.
It's even worse. Metal to metal.
Yeah, so I didn't realize that while the wood window was there, it was wrapped in aluminum, and so the wire had broke, and it was arcing on the aluminum window frame, and so. Yeah, for probably a couple hours, I was putting 1,500 watts into the aluminum window frame and just smoking it. Like,
was your house glowing?
There's still scorch marks on the window.
Wow, that's crazy.
You're probably so glad that the the argon gas, or if they were the triple pane windows, that didn't catch fire in the middle of it.
Oh, trust me. The windows are old enough. There's no gas left in them. So, but I do want to comment real quick. Just that my wife is a substance abuse therapist. She's got her master's. She's got her own practice, and I very much understand the struggles of substance abuse and addiction. And so I give major props to anybody that is sober and living the sober life and in recovery, because that is a long, hard road. However, I will say, yes, you gotta have a sense of humor about it. You got to be able to joke about it. And ham radio is one heck of an addiction to have.
Our wives would definitely say we're ham radio addicts, no doubt.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. If you're running your own podcast, you're over the edge at this point. You need to seek help. The help of other YouTubers who also do ham radio. That's just one more way.
Well, when people find out, like they go, "You do a podcast?" They're like, "On what?" And I'm like, especially the kids. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not a what do they call those guys that are like professional YouTubers?" I'm like, on ham radio. Influencer, right? Yeah, I'm not an influencer. I said, yeah, I do it on ham radio, and the kids are like, "What's that?" And like the adults like look at me and they like, "There's a market for that." I'm like, "Actually, there is."
I remember the one episode,
and we're here to make it bigger.
The one live stream we did, and I don't know if everybody caught it when we did the live stream. It was a while back, where your daughter's friend was on there, and she like, I was just on the border of verging on hitting on every one of us in the podcast. It was like kind of like, oh my gosh, this is weird and creepy, but at the same time, hey, whatever.
There you go, Mike. I'm a hamfluencer.
Yes, there we go. Yes. All right. Well, I've got one other story I'm going to throw in here. I actually got a couple, but this one's probably one of my first POTUS.
You can tell who's been doing ham radio longer.
Probably, yeah.
Well, when did you first get licensed, Eric? 90 what?
93. Yeah,
93. Yeah.
It's been a while. 30 plus years so far doing ham radio. So yeah, I'm the old guy here, even though Todd's got me by a couple of years age wise.
Oh, you have to bring that
I wasn't even in middle school yet.
Get out of here.
No, middle school was 94 to 96 was middle school.
Holy shit. Wow. I was like a junior in college.
Yeah, high school was 96 to 2000.
I was just graduating from high school. So there you go. A wise one, teach us.
we have a new girl working for us, and I call her post 9/11 because she was born after 9/11. I'm like, "What's up, post 911?" She's like, "Are you gonna call me that forever?" I'm like, "Yep, I am."
Good, catchy, good ring.
I'm the old guy in the office now. Like I sit back and our secretary, she's been with us forever. I'm like, "We're the old people in the office." We're like, and we start naming all the old people. She goes, "Yes, we are." I'm like, I just never thought I'd be that way.
You just kind of embrace it.
Yeah.
Well, so one of my stories, I guess, when I first started POTA, which was I got back into the hobby around a little bit before COVID, or just right at the edge. And so once I got my general, I was like, all right, I'm going out to do POTA, learned out of it, and I was like, all right, I got my Bioenno battery, I got my PowerWorks meter. I'm the cool guy because I've watched all the YouTubers out there, and all of them were like, you got to get this, you got to have this, and this is your setup, and blah, blah, blah. So I had the 891. I had the setup. So I go out in the field, and of course, my one bit of wise advice that I'm going to throw out to everybody is before you go out, hook all your equipment up, figure out how it all works, play with it. Don't go out and do an activation before you set your radio up and learn how to connect everything up. Well, me and my stupidity didn't bother to take a look at the PowerWorks meter and notice that one side says load, the other side says battery. So I hooked that up backwards. And so in my rush to rehook it back up, I don't know how I did it, but somehow I flipped the power pole over so it was, instead of red to red, black to black, it was red and black reversed. And so I plugged that back into the battery, and then as I was about to plug in the battery or the PowerWorks meter into the radio, this arc had jumped. Me and electricity just don't apparently work well. Arced across the power pole and sucked the power pole into the connector. And at that point, I was like, holy crap, because I didn't turn the radio on. I'm like, did I just fry everything I bought at this point? And I hadn't even turned the radio on. And I'm just like, my heart, like,
you fused the connector the wrong way?
I fused the connector the wrong way. And so I couldn't break it apart. It wouldn't come apart. You'd think it would, but it fused itself just right that the two metal contacts just bonded. And so I had to take a knife I had to cut the end off of it. And you obviously know when you put metal to metal, when you're trying to cut the positive side. So I'm cutting the end off. This is just a comedy of errors. So that was my first failed activation and one that I'll always remember. But I had cut the end off of it just to separate the battery from, because I wouldn't even turn the radio on. And I was like, oh, please don't let this 891 catch, basically any heat from this. And thank God, knock on wood, it wasn't on, so I didn't have to worry about it. But yeah, I ended up blowing up a PowerWorks meter. And at that point, I almost cooked my radio even before I got a chance to make one contact. So yes,
well, bravo for not frying the radio.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
The ham radio gods were looking out for him that day.
Oh man, they knew at the very first time it would be one of those things.
It's some good advice. You remember when I did my I got my Buddy Pole Pro, and I never took it out of the box or anything, and I go to do it to a park, and
oh yes, I remember that.
And I'm like, dude, this ain't working. Like, what am I doing wrong? And I'm like on the phone there. I'm like, something's wrong. It's not working.
The long tech support. Did you extend the pole? Did you use you attach the coil? Did you use that little thing, the little blue wire with all of the links in there? No. Oh, I forgot that, and then you'd run it out and extend it out. Did you hook up your coax, Todd? Did you forget your coax?
Huge mistake. You should have done it before.
You activated the park, man. You got one step further than I did.
Well, yeah. Once you helped me figure out what I was doing wrong, and I was like, oh crap. But yeah, that was it's a good point. Definitely test out your stuff at home. It'll make your life a lot easier in the field, I guess.
You'd be able to make contacts at least. All right. Well, Paul, you got one you want to throw in the ring, or I got another one there.
Well, no, but I will tell you that I definitely learned doing my first soda that you should always bring a second antenna.
Do tell, Paul. Do tell.
Now, listen, in all fairness, the Reliance NFED half wave is 100% a fantastic antenna, and I love it. But I had probably well overworked it. Support Your Parks weekend, and I had to change the capacitor that's in the transformer because it had heated up enough that it broke the solder connection.
Oh wow!
And so so that's why I wasn't getting I wasn't really getting anywhere on my first summit, because I was like, this is weird. I'm running a 3-to-1 SWR
I love this antenna.
on 20 meters. Like, this antenna doesn't do that. Like, I took it all apart the other day, and I was like, oh shit. But I do have another one on its way. So thanks, Matt, for that. Really appreciate it.
Cool. Well, those that don't know what antenna we're talking about, it's the Reliance NFED antenna, the bug out. We're all big fans of it. We all have copies of it and love that antenna. And if you want to save some money and you want to head over to his website, go over to relianceantenna.com. Paul, if you want to throw the link in the chat there for folks, you can use my call sign N1JUR, or you can use Live Free and Ham. Get 10% off and free shipping. All on us. Great antenna. You will be very pleasantly surprised and happy with it. I love them. In fact, if I did my activation, and one of the things I was going to share, and I might touch on, was my activation I had done over Support Your Parks weekend on Sunday. I was going to test out my FX4CR, and I think I shared it on another episode, where I brought it out and got it all set up and didn't have a throw weight, so I had to use my water bottle to get the antenna up over the tree, blah, blah, blah. I literally got it in to the point where I'm ready to hook up the transformer and the coax to the transformer, and I realized that the transformer I had inside was for the dipole version, and I'm running an NFED wire. So I literally threw up 66 feet of wire up in a tree, ran all the extensions, hooked it all up, and then I tried to hook it up to a dipole transformer, and it's like, that's not freaking gonna work. I was hoping I could get maybe a 2-to-1. No, that the SWR was like 4 to 5 to 1. I was like, there's no way. There's no way. Even if I tried to throw a little bit of a cheap little line off the other end, it wouldn't have done anything. So I had to pack all of it up, tuck my tail, head back to my car, and use my 891 of the truck.
Well, at least you had a backup to your plan. So
yeah, I guess so. That the save. least a bit of a save. But then that's, of course, then I hop on the air, and that's when I had a lid constantly sitting on a frequency, just yelling at Boy Scouts over and over again, profanities and bad things. So yeah, that just really didn't help the whole process. But anyway,
my favorite is when they play the Windows noises.
Oh yes,
I always love hearing the Windows noises.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, that's always fun, especially when you're in the middle of a transmission with them. It's like trying to complete the last send there. Thanks for letting me know you just got an email. I appreciate it.
You've got mail.
Oh gosh, yeah. Imagine those sounds play over there.
I think what bothers me the most is like when you're in a pile up and you're getting more and more people, and they decide to tune up right on you. So you hear that beep. It's like, and then right? And
Yep.
the guy is, because I'll call him out. I'll be like, you'll hear like this new station coming, like, and you'll call him like, did you just tune up on me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to make sure my antenna was right. I'm like, just go to a different frequency and do it, and come back.
Yeah, well, that's when the park rangers come and yell at you.
Yeah.
Junior park rangers.
So Tim, I see Tim in the chat, KC1QDK. But when we were at Support Your Parks weekend, our campsites were like within line of sight of one another.
Mm-hmm.
And Saturday morning at like 9:00 in the morning, right? So like quiet time ended at 7. It's 9:00 now, and I'm hammering 10 meters. 10 meters booming. I'm going. I'm having tons of fun. And the park ranger came around to yell at us because some ham radio operator was on their radio at 7 a.m. and
we won't say who.
apparently somebody was tuning up on the frequency, and so it was emitting that god awful tone that we all hate. And it's like, listen, lady, one, I didn't get up till 8:30. I know Tim didn't get up till 8:30, so it wasn't us. Like. Yep. Whoever you're mad at, it wasn't us. But yeah, we also hate people who tune up right on top of our frequency. Like,
nevertheless, that she's not a big fan of caution tape. And if I had the photo, I could show you exactly how much caution tape Tim used. He is very good about safety, and I can't fault him for that. But in essence, if you're a park ranger and you're walking by a field, the hell is my Zoom doing? What's going? Love this freaking technology. So I've got some latest news I have to tell you right now.
Someone hacked in his controls.
Freaking A. Yep, there we go, guys. Anyway, so that just frames out the whole entire thing there. So he had set up a caution tape around all of his antennas, and he was wondering why. Obviously he knew. He was able to help diffuse the situation, long story short, did a great job of it. But when I pulled in, all I see is this like caution tape around this whole giant field. And I'm like, well, that explains why they obviously noticed. They probably wouldn't have seen your antennas in the field. It was like this big giant caution tape outlining a whole entire like crime scene. So it was like, hey, what's going on here? Are they doing, seances and murders in the middle of this recreational field? Oh, man. But yeah, hey, we live and learn, right?
It's pretty funny.
Oh, cool. Well, one other thing go ahead.
No, I was just going to say in response to Mike there, 7,200 is good, but 14,300 is better.
Better frequency to talk on. They all love you over there. Yeah, my advice if you're looking for a conversation on Halloween night, 14,300 is definitely the place to go. Looking for a good rag chew. I actually had a really good ham radio, we'll say, life when I was younger. One of the things that I share a lot sometimes, but this kind of is apropos for Halloween coming up. I was, as you could probably guess, one of those kids that was either in the computer lab or in the ham radio room in high school. So I wasn't the popular crew. I played baseball, but that was about the extent of my sports career. And so long story short, on Halloween night, our local club in town where I grew up would do what they call pumpkin patrol. And it was a bunch of hams. They'd all get in their car and they'd all have their radios or mobile rigs or whatever. And they'd drive around town during Halloween night. And their job was obviously to report back to the police station that, it was, there's some nefarious stuff going on. And then the police would be dispatched for that because they had a really good relationship with the local police department in town. Actually, I think the chief of police growing up was an actual ham himself.
So they were coming after like me and my buddies.
Probably. We were very much chasing you down,
So I grew up in New Jersey, and we have a thing called they call it Cabbage Night or Goosey Night. And it's like basically the night before Halloween. You go out and like toilet paper the trees, do just crazy shit. And some people took it to the extent of throwing eggs. I never did that. I did shaving cream.
Mischief and mayhem.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike might know. Mike might know that. I don't know if they do it in upstate New York, but they definitely did it down there. And you'd wake up in the morning, there'd just be like rolls of like toilet paper hanging in the trees, looking like ghosts or whatever. And it's just kind of fun. But yeah, the best part of it was like you'd be doing stuff and like you'd be toilet paper in someone's front yard, and then you ding dong ditch them, and people would get mad, and the cops would be chasing after us, and we'd be running, and you got like a backpack of toilet paper and shaving cream.
See, I was the opposite of that, Todd. I had an HT in my hand, and I was in a car driving around with older adults, all reporting those mischief makers to the police. Tell me, I was one of the popular kids in school. I guarantee it. If they knew I was in the vehicle, reporting them, because I knew where. Because I had, let's just say I had the intel because I knew what was going to be going on because it was already being planned in school. Because I had a graduating class of like 300 people, so a lot of people talked, and you could easily know. And so, yeah.
For me, it was like, it's Mike. I'm with Team Todd.
Of course you are, Mike.
Well, for me, it was like a rite of passage, right? You couldn't wait to get old enough to go out. So like one year I wanted to go out. It was like the first year. My parents were like, "Nope, you're not going out. You're not going out." So I got pissed and I toilet papered and shaving creamed my bath. The bathroom, like for the guests, like the downstairs bathroom, like that everyone would use, like if you're having a party or whatever. And they didn't know, and then they opened it, like, what the hell? Things filled with toilet paper, shaving cream all over the walls.
I prefer, helper of, self society. I don't know. Come up with a better title for that, but
yeah, fun.
Yeah, trust me, dude. That was the fun part. Like, I didn't have to worry about it, but it was always fun to because what they would do would be is that they would hang around in the dark. So we'd be sitting in the back of a car while the teenagers were causing their problems, waiting for the police to show up, and then the police would kind of roll up quietly, and because we'd be radioing back to the school, back to the police station, hey, this is where they are, this is where they've moved to. So we were literally doing play by play. It was like a football game, for nerds, and. So we literally just went through this process of telling them what's going on.
There goes that W1STJ guy running through the football field.
Exactly.
North.
Oh man, it was a blast, dude. I enjoyed doing it. I like I said, I framed it out very early on. I wasn't the popular crowd. I just hung around the computer lab and electronics shop when we had one.
See, when I was a teenager, right? So I got arrested my freshman year for I was smoking in the weight room in the school. And the weight room was above the gym, and they had this old ventilation machine. And of course, kids would take their snack trash, like their little paper plates and Pop-Tart wrappers and whatever, and they just throw it in this old ventilation machine. And so when the gym teacher was coming, this old geezer, man, I could have done so many other things with the cigarette, but I flicked it into the machine. And of course, it caught all that trash on fire. So long story short, sophomore year, I was in the Police Explorer program. And let me tell you that even though we did security and stuff for the Halloween festivities, not once was I ever a narc.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, like I was the
kid dressed up. I was the kid dressed up like a little cop, and I was like, yeah, I didn't see nothing. I don't know what you're talking about.
So you were the cop that Whitey Bulger would be friends with. Yeah, we'll talk to Paul. He's good. He saw nothing. Yeah,
well, then I don't know if I should share the rest of my story.
So this will go so when I was in high school, you were allowed to smoke outside in front of the school, even if you were like a kid. So the teachers and we called them the burnouts would sit out there and smoke their butts, and every time the bell rang, they'd run outside, everyone smoked their butts and go back in. And that was just normal. So like you didn't have to hide in the bathroom or anything like nowadays. Like now it's not even smoking. Now everyone does vapes. You know, that's the biggest thing. Like everyone's vaping in school. They've even got like vape detectors in the bathrooms of the schools that they can pick up like a vape. I don't know how they do it, but whatever is in a vape, they can pick it up and it alerts the SRO and they can go down there. But all the kids are doing it. They're doing it in class. They're doing it in the halls. It's like it's stupid. It's a losing battle. If you're going to be the guy going, it's a losing battle. So.
Well, it is, but in essence, at the same time, you know, now that I've been labeled as a narc,
you openly admitted to it.
I framed it out the way I possibly best could, you know, where I wasn't going to get, you know, basically still keep my cool status, but that obviously was never in play or in check. But yeah, I have a lot of great stories with ham radio that, you know, kind of follow along the same lines. You know, to be truthfully honest, I was a Boy Scout. So if anybody, you know, has been a Boy Scout, you know that a lot of us, the only thing we were really good at is whittling wood and setting fires. So, you know, 9 times out of 10,
and sewing leather wallets.
Yes. I left that to the girly girls, but you know, that's just where I'm at. I was more about like, hey, how many pocket knives can I have? And each one of those, it's like, you know, that one goes to 11. Don't touch that one, you know, kind of thing. But yeah, I always had in my ham radio with me. I was definitely one of those kids that, you know, was not in the cool population. So we'd go to Boy Scout camp and I would have my ham. My brother would have his. And, you know, we were the only 2 guys that probably out of maybe 4 others that were hams in our, you know, Boy Scouts that were very much, you know, carrying around radios. But, you know, we were the cool ones because we'd sneak out at night and we'd be able to radio to each other at Boy Scout camp. And, you know, we'd be like, you know, so-and-so's, you know, trying to track us down, you know, you got to get out of the area or whatever. And so we spend a lot of time just radioing back and forth. So yeah,
thinking that thing's blasting and the guy can hear you. I'll throw over in behind the bush again.
I know, right? Damn it, turn your radio down. I can hear you halfway around the part. Oh man. Well, so you know, those may be some scary moments. I don't know, but either way, I think it's pretty good on a Halloween night to kind of share some of this stuff, or Halloween Eve night. You know, anything else you guys want to throw in stories just so you can, you know, make people forget my stories? So, you know, it's long forgotten.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that Halloween night that we have clear weather, because while, you know, I always go all out in the front yard and I do all kinds of like animatronics and, you know, I'll do that again this year. I'll put the fog machine out and everything and I'll make it all spooky. But I like to go around the neighborhood and see what everybody else is doing, and of course, do some trick or treating myself. So I'm looking forward to hopefully some good weather, so that I can go around the neighborhood and, you know, do some trick or treating.
Yeah, I lived in a condo association, and they had trick or treatings, and then for the adults they had nips.
Oh yeah.
So the
Jello
kids would get the
shots,
candy,
yeah.
Jello shots, and you'd go around, and that was fun. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, our town, I don't know if you guys have ever been there, but our town, I saw like in smoking class. Our town, Amherst, has down at the village, they do an enormous Halloween trick or treating, and I mean it's thousands of people in that little area. You guys have been to the village in Amherst?
Yeah,
the little,
yeah, they usually have that little Christmas bazaar
those
thing.
Yeah, those neighborhoods, they have. I mean, we have to budget into our town budget money for Halloween candy for the people that live there because there's so many people go. Like
Wow.
seriously. And then like the Moultons will have like a box, like donate Halloween candy for the people that live there. If you want to do trick or treating and you want to be part of the village and you don't live in the village, you can like rent a door in the field or in the park. I mean, it's crazy. Sometimes they have, like one time they had a haunted house and they had the high school kids who were in the drama do the haunted house, and they had like the top floor of the barn was like kind of cool for like little kids, and then the downstairs was like the scary part, and they had they'd come and touch you and grab you and they'd spray shit on you. And my oldest was a little kid, and he went down to the first one and his friend was in front of him. This guy comes out and scares him. He just starts bawling and runs away. And my son Tyler's like I'm like, you want to go? He goes, yeah, let's go. So he goes down and he gets out of the barn. We're done. And it was like, it was done so well. Like it was something like I felt like you could have paid for, like, you know, how they have the haunted house. Like it was that well done. The decorations, the way they did it.
Sure.
And so I don't know, he was probably like 6 or 7. He was like a little kid. And he's like, that wasn't so bad. Then out of the blue comes a guy like, I don't know, like guy from Friday the 13th, Michael Myers,
Friday.
with a chainsaw. Chase him. He chased him all the way around the barn into the front. He goes, that was scary. That was really scary. So I don't know if those people left or whatever, but that was like one of our first years going, and I was impressed with it. But I'll tell you, I avoid that place like the plague now because it is insane. There's just thousands of kids, and people come from all over. It's not just like Amherst kids. There's kids from every town, Manchester. It's crazy.
Yep. So I might be narkish, but we have our president in our club. Tim was saying he gives out full-size candy bars with the caveat that if you are a ham, he's going to ask you an extra question. So you can't go there either, Todd, unless you know he's going to pull from the question pool. You know that you've studied.
Listen, he's not an extra. What the hell is he talking about? Maybe he should do it.
Tim isn't, but Bill WONWRA is.
Oh, so, Bill's doing it.
Yeah,
Bill is giving. Oh.
Yeah, he's giving out full-size candy bars if you can answer an extra question. Now, you know.
Well, you know what? Maybe we should go to Bill's house because I bet you I get a candy bar and you don't, even though you're
probably.
An extra.
There we go. There's the bet. Cool. Well, you know, it sounds like fun. You know, we definitely. I try to keep it low key. I usually don't do much now. Kids are a lot older. I know, Paul, you definitely said you got a good setup there in your front yard. I used to do a lot of that kind of stuff, but you know, getting older, I'm running out of places to store the shit and can't figure out. You know, I now have the argument with my wife is like, do you want to get candy? Do you want to get candy? And we just argue back and forth. And finally, when someone caves, someone will get candy. And then that person gets candy, has the door duty, because it's like we live in a cul-de-sac. So you have it's a popular place, like Todd was saying. It's sort of like the Village. It's like 200 units. So, you know, everybody from every neighborhood in the entire Merrimack all head over here. And, you know, we just get kids for like 2.5 hours. And then, you know,
because you're all close. It's like the kids, it's not about trick. It's like how much candy can I get? You know, out of, you know, for the amount of time. Like when I was a kid, like trick-or-treating went from the minute you got out of school until like people stopped answering the doors. Like we'd be at 10 o'clock at night on people's doors. Like at least now it's like, okay, you have like from 6 to 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it was dark for me. Yeah, it was dark,
it was
and then
crazy.
It stayed dark.
I did one year. I dressed up as like a scarecrow. And I had a bowl of candy, and I just like sat it there, and I just sat in the chair, so I looked like a scarecrow, and I didn't move. And then if the kids would like, it'd say take one. And if I see a kid grab it, I'm like, hey! The kids would like freak out.
It's crazy. All right, guys. Well, we should kind of wrap this up, but it's been great to have everybody here, and we appreciate everybody that's been hanging out here in the chat. And just to kind of go through, we saw Tim in there, KC1, QDK, and Bob. And I definitely saw Mike in there earlier. He's probably still hanging and looming out in the background. Cornbread and
Chris and Andy.
Chris and Andy. Yeah. Well, we appreciate all you guys hanging out with us. You know, this is kind of one of those usual scheduled, you know, live streams, but you know, it's just been a freaking busy week and crazy, and technical difficulties have been plaguing us left and right. So we're glad we're here, and Mike is still here. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. You know,
and let's all head over to Bill's house tomorrow and study for your extra tonight, and get a full-size candy bar.
Exactly, man. You heard it here first. So, all right, well, let's kind of wrap things up. Well, you know, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, you know, and you aren't a part of our Live Free and Ham community, you can always head over to livefreeandham.com. Click the Discord link down in the bottom of the page there to come join, be part of the community there. And as always, you can support our show in a number of different ways. And obviously that's through our reviews. We definitely have our do good segment. So if you've got something that you've been doing with your club, or you've been doing with a bunch of other guys and gals, a photo event or whatever, and you've had a great story, please share it with us. Head over to our website. You can go to livefreeandham.com/do good, fill out the form. And if, like we said in the past on every episode, and we're going to keep saying it, if you're one of those go-getters, send us a WinLink email, and you can come out and hang out with us on our next live stream show. How cool is that? And you can share your story and, hang out with us, old guys here.
I'm guessing that's going to be the Thanksgiving.
That'll probably be the Thanksgiving episode.
Ham ready and Thanksgiving.
Well, there you go, Mike. Quick healing there. So, so you can always use our SMS link too as well. So if you want to leave us a review there and you want to let us know how good, bad, or indifferent our show is, or whether or not, we need to, clear my name and no longer make my narc, let us know. Email us at livefreeandham@gmail.com or use our website to send us notes. And like we mentioned earlier in the show, if you want to get on the inside and you want to hear early release of our podcasts, and when we do our lives or when we do our shows, we record that in the raw format, and you get to hear all of the back stuff in the back channels. You can subscribe to our Patreon, as all that information is up there and available for you to check out and be part of and be on the in crowd. And otherwise, subscribe to our podcast. We release every 2 weeks, and we'd love to have you be part of the community. And thanks again. As always, we appreciate you all listening. And with that, I'm going to say 7-3.
Happy Halloween.
7-3.